In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to work with files in Node. So scroll down and you will see the file system module here. Click on it. So here on this page, you'll see a comprehensive set of methods to work with files. However, I'm not going to waste your time and show you each and every method. Instead, I'll show you an example of a particular operation, that is to read the directory in different ways to perform that operation. So let's move on to the file system here. So we have two different ways to use the file system module, and we'll look into it shortly. Before that, let me show you two different syntaxes that we can use to load the FS module. You can either use the import functionality of the ES6 modules, or you can just use the common JavaScript syntax, which uses the required function where you have to provide the namespace node.fs/promises or just node.fs, and all you need to do is store it in a constant called fs. So either way, you're going to use the or load the fs module, the file system module. Now let us understand the basic difference between the promise-based APIs, callback APIs, and synchronous APIs. So the file system operations can be performed synchronously and asynchronously, and furthermore, asynchronous operations can be performed using the callback API or the promise-based API. All the operations are accessible using both the common JavaScript syntax and the ES6 modules. Now let us understand the basic difference between all these APIs. Synchronous APIs perform all operations synchronously, blocking the event loop until the operation completes or fails. So as I told you before, Node is a single-threaded operation. It does not execute another request until the current operation completes or fails. Moving on to the callback APIs, these API perform all operations asynchronously without blocking the event loop that invoke a callback function upon completion or error. That means asynchronous operations can be performed using the single thread because it's non-blocking. So remember the example of the restaurant that I gave you? A waiter can take the order and give it back to the kitchen, then take the order from another table and go back to the kitchen again. In this way, we can serve as many clients as possible. And lastly, we have promises API. These provides asynchronous file system methods that return promises. So it is something that is added to Node in version 10. Before that, all the asynchronous operations were performed using the callback API. And lastly, as I told you before, both the callback and promises API uses the underlying Node thread pool to perform file system operations of the event loop thread. Now, let us look at the example using the promises API, callback API, and the synchronous API. So let me show you an example of the synchronous operation using the common JavaScript syntax. So we'll load the fs module using the required function like this. Once the function is loaded, we can access the read dir sync from here. Now we will have to mention the path here. So period / because we are looking at the current directory. Now let me save this in a constant called files like this here. Now all you need to do is log to the console files. Here the synchronous operation will complete. But let me encapsulate all the code here in a try catch statement. So try to get the files here and handle the error, something like this. So log error, comma. However, this is not the ideal way to handle an error, but this will do for now. We can also rectify the code a bit more, like this, for const file of files. So I'm using the for statement for loop, to load an individual file of the array. Save it, back to the terminal, and run node app.js. So here you can see all the files that we have in the current folder. Check this from here. On modules, app.js, logo.js, package, lock.json, package.json. And here, all the same. Back to VS Code. Now let me show you the asynchronous examples using the ES6 modules. So I'm going to delete all this from here. Before that, let me tell you that to use the ES6 modules, we have to declare the type of the package as module. So you have to go to package.json. Here, you will need to declare type as module. So remember, once you declare the type as module, you will not be able to use the require function. Then you will only be able to use the ES6 modules. So I'll close this, and remember, to load the ES6 modules, we'll use import. So import asterisk as fs from node fs. That's it for now. To use the callback API, we'll use fs dot read dir. We'll have to include the path here, /, and now the second argument will be a callback function. So comma. Now the callback function will take two parameters. First, the error, and the second is the files. So I'm using the arrow function here, err for error, then files. Now the arrow function starts from here. You can just use the if else part here. So if err error, then you'll have to log it to the console. So error, comma error, else you can simply log the files. So let's see what happens. We'll save it back to the terminal and node.app.js. So as you can see, the files array, which includes the name of files. Back to VS Code, we can also rectify the code as we did earlier, simply for const file of files and to the file. So log back to the terminal, run node.app.js, see the same result. I'm just gonna clear this and back to the VS Code, and we'll use the last example for the promises API. To use the promises API, we'll have to add promises here. Now, promises APIs has the file system methods that return promises. So, as you know, if you know asynchronous JavaScript, if you are returning a promise, then you have to decorate the function with await. So, let me quickly write await here. Then don't have to use the callback function here. So I'll just remove it here and finish it like this. Now, as this is a result, a promise result, we'll have to store this in a constant. So I'll store this in files, const files, and then we can simply print, take this code from here, and we don't need this. So I'm gonna delete this, and this will do. But remember, this is asynchronous operation. It could also return error. So we'll have to make sure that we are going to use the error handling using the try-catch statement. So I will encapsulate this in a try-catch statement like this. I'll move all this code from here to here, and to log the error, I will do something like this. Error. Save this back to the terminal, node.js, and the same result.